You've probably heard about Forrest Frank's recent album, Child of God 2, but what you might not know is what God put him through to create it. You see, this wasn't just another album, it was proof of how God can turn our darkest moments into our most powerful victories. A brutal skateboard accident that fractured his spine, multiple Christian artists mocking his pain, and weeks of recovery lying in bed that should have broken him completely. But God wasn't finished with Forrest's story yet. From his bed, unable to walk, Frank began writing songs that would reach #1 on iTunes, get millions of streams worldwide, and change millions of lives forever. Each track would tell a different story of how the Lord turned his suffering into his most powerful testimony yet. Let's get into the story of how God turned every painful moment into creating Forrest Frank's breakthrough album, Child of God 2. On July 19, 2025, Forrest was just skateboarding with his 2-year-old son Bodhi outside their house on their driveway when Forrest's skateboard shot out from under him and sent him flying backwards, slamming his lower back right into the concrete edge of the sidewalk. With their security camera capturing everything, the impact was severe. Most people in Forrest's situation would have taken this time to focus on healing, but Forrest took a different approach. Lying flat on his back, unable to move without excruciating pain, he did something that would go on to create his #1 hits for his album Child of God 2. From his bed, using just his laptop, guitar, and his microphone, Forrest began creating what would become one of his biggest hits. The song, God's Got My Back, was born out of pure pain and pure faith, and within hours of uploading, the song exploded across social media. Another #1 hit from his album with a wild origin story was Lemonade. On July 21st, a folk duo called The Figs posted an Instagram video as part of their series where they try to write songs in the style of different artists. That day, they decided to do one in the style of Forrest Frank, just as a fun joke, but somehow the algorithm pushed their video to Forrest, who was still recovering in bed. He saw it and started adding his own parts to their song, and in just 11 days, what started as a funny joke turned into a fully produced single released on August 1st. The day Lemonade dropped, it hit #1 across all genres on iTunes, and it would also happen to be just one day before Forrest would go and announce to his fans that his back had been completely healed. On August 2nd, 2025, exactly 14 days after his accident, Frank woke up and something felt different. Without thinking, he got out of bed and started his normal routine. He picked up his son, Bodhi, moved around the house, and then suddenly realized he wasn't wearing his back brace. For 2 weeks, he couldn't move an inch without that brace and excruciating pain. But now, he was walking around, lifting his child, completely pain-free. Where there had been multiple fractures just days before, there was now nothing. The x-rays came back showing no fractures, which meant Forrest's back was completely healed. But not everything that came out of it was positive, as just weeks after Frank shared his healing story, established Christian artists began poking fun at the situation. Corey Asbury, the guy behind Reckless Love, decided to create a parody vasectomy song, poking fun at Frank's recovery process. But Asbury wasn't alone. Matthew West, a multiple Dove Award winner with millions of followers, also jumped onto the trend with his own parody called Honey. West's version also mocked Frank's situation, turning Forrest's traumatic accident into a joke. For Forrest, watching these videos was devastating as he saw multiple Christian artists making fun of one of the most traumatic moments of his and his wife's lives. But what happened next is something that no one could see coming. Instead of firing back with anger or stirring up drama between the two, Forrest did something that shocked everyone. He wrote a song about the situation and invited Corey to collaborate with him on it. The lyrics were about the situation the two artists went through and how they felt misunderstood during the controversy, and that, despite it all, they choose to respond the way Jesus taught, offering forgiveness instead of holding on to the pain. What could have been a devastating divide in the Christian music community became a beautiful showcase of God's grace, humility, and genuine reconciliation. But it doesn't stop there with Forrest's new album, as one of the first songs featured, called Encore, starts with the crowd noise from his sold-out tour, but then transitions into this incredibly intimate phone call between Forrest and his grandfather. This is the same grandfather whose 1980s sermon opened the original Child of God album. They start talking about Forrest's crazy success, and his grandfather even asks about the "Your Way's Better" dance. The first track ends with his grandfather praying this raw, unscripted prayer for Forrest in one of the most raw moments we've ever seen in Forrest's music. But let's talk about the song that changed everything for Forrest, "Your Way's Better." This track is absolutely insane when you look at the story behind it. When it first came out in October 2024, Forrest said it was like his 12th or 13th highest streaming song, and that it wasn't making any significant waves at first. Then in February 2025, a couple named David Myers and Bridget Nicole created this simple TikTok dance to go with the song, and it exploded. The song hit TikTok's top 50 chart, got featured in over 250,000 videos, and became Forrest's first solo entry on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 61. On July 22nd, 2025, the song was certified gold by the RIAA. That was unheard of for a Christian artist, and became one of only a few Christian tracks to chart on the Hot 100 in recent years. Other songs featured on his album, like Selah, released right after his triumphant Iowa State Fair performance. This song takes its title from the biblical term meaning pause and reflect, and captures what Forrest learned during his season of forced stillness. The song, "The Rock," was a powerful collaboration with Christian artist Crowder, who, at the same time as Forrest broke his back, was recovering from a broken leg of his own. The timing of the song made it more significant, as both artists were going through physical pain. The track celebrates that no matter how much pain our physical bodies may be going through, our faith stands on something stronger, which is Christ, the solid rock who never fails us. When Child of God 2 dropped in May 2025, it immediately reached number 1 on the Christian charts and hit number 12 on the Billboard 200, and sold out a 26-city arena tour. But here's where it gets even crazier. Forrest's monthly YouTube music listeners actually passed Drake, and for the first time, a Christian artist had more listeners than one of the biggest names in the world. And that's not all, as Child of God 2 also pulled in over 40 million streams across the world and 50,000 TikTok videos, with God's Got My Back becoming Atlantic Music Group's top US streaming debut of the year, with 2 million streams in just 1 week. Forrest also scored 7 GMA Dove Award nominations, including Artist and Songwriter of the Year, plus 3 Billboard Music Award nominations for Top Christian Artist, Album, and Song. The Child of God 2 Deluxe isn't just Forrest Frank's breakthrough album. It's living proof that God can turn our worst moments into his greatest victories.